In 2012, Oceaneering Entertainment Systems developed what may be the ultimate show viewing ride system of all time, one that will provide show scene presentations completely unrestrained when compared to all previous ride systems. The Revolution True Trackless Ride. Please welcome Vice President and General Manager Dave Mauk. There we go, Dave. And Manager of Business Development, Bill Bunting, who are going to tell you all about how they did it.
Hello? Can you hear us? Yes. Excellent. Welcome back from lunch. Hope it was all enjoyable for you. We are here today to talk about the Revolution True Trackless Ride System. It's a lot of fun for us to do that. I'm getting a lot of feedback up here. Sorry. When we talk about motion-based ride vehicles, and Oceaneering is really focused in the area of dark ride vehicles. We don't build roller coasters. We don't build flat rides or merry-go-rounds. We like the genre of dark rides because they're fun and because they involve many of the people in this room, and we like to tell great stories, and we like to help people tell great stories. So we focus in the area of dark rides. And when we talk about dark ride systems, really the breakthrough in dark ride systems came early in the development of theme parks. Way back in 1967, it really all started with the Omnimover. Everybody remembers that? Mr. Gurr, you probably remember this well, as I do. When I was a young man, had an opportunity to ride this back in 1967. Yes, that's how old I am. The Adventures Through Inner Space, which was created, sponsored by Monsanto. What made this attraction truly unique and the ride system unique was this was the first time that storytellers were able to, through a cam system, orient the ride vehicle so that the guests could be turned to face the show in the way the storyteller wanted them to. It was a huge breakthrough, incredibly successful, and really set the stage for all dark ride development from that point on. In 1995, Disney created what many consider to be the breakthrough ride system for the Indiana Jones attraction. And this vehicle was incredible because it added a further elements of motion base through a hydraulic actuation system. It's still a tracked system, and it was able to do 6 degrees of freedom. And in this way, you could not only orient the vehicle to the guest, but you could also introduce pitch and roll and heave and further enhance the storytelling ability. Well, that idea was developed even further in 1999 when Universal created the Spider-Man ride attraction, and their vehicle utilized a Stewart platform, which is a 6 degree of freedom electric motion base. And that vehicle really set the stage, or became the sort of the gold standard of ride vehicles for almost a decade. Oceaneering had the great fortune of being allowed to actually build the Spider-Man ride vehicles. We were one of a consortium that did the first group for Universal Orlando. We built the Spider-Man attraction ride vehicles for Universal Studios Japan in total, and then we've just completed 3 more fleets of this same ride vehicle for the Transformers attractions in Singapore and Hollywood, and just recently in Orlando. So that vehicle really set the stage for what motion-based ride vehicles could be. And based on our experience after Japan, Oceaneering decided it might be a good idea if we could sort of offer the same technology, the same guest experience in our own product. So we developed what we call the Evolution tracked ride system. Evolution was unique in that it was available to everyone, not just Disney and Universal, who's kind of protective of their stuff. And it offered the same level of guest experience, or very close to it, that Universal did with Spider-Man. Evolution was rolled out first at Curse of Dark Castle. Many of you know of that show that up in Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And we've developed 2 other ride systems based on that, and we're actually working on 2 more right now that, of course, I can't tell you about. Sorry. This system is a pneumatic notion base, so we went from hydraulic to electric, and this is pneumatic. We've kind of tried all the versions that work. And from there, we decided, well, what could we do next? What could be the next great system? And because none of our engineers could sort of figure out how to take you to the fourth dimension. We haven't figured out time travel yet. We decided the next great evolution in ride systems would come from going trackless. Just eliminating that one feature would allow the ride storytellers to showcase their attractions in a completely different way. So we had to overcome 3 huge leaps of technology that we had been working on for quite some time. The first was power management. When you escape the track, you also escape the mothership of power transfer. And as many of you are aware, these motion-based ride systems are huge, huge power consumers. So being able to offer the same level of motion base running on a battery and maintaining that battery power 24/7 was a huge leap of technology for us, and that's one of the things we built into the Revolution system that makes it really unique. Navigation is another system. We separate ourselves and we denote what trackless is. We refer to it as true trackless. Some people had done trackless systems previously, but they were basically follow the wire, which we consider to be nothing but a buried invisible track. You're still married to a single ride path, and you're still basically running follow the leader through the ride space. So for us, navigation became no longer follow a track, but it could be truly free-ranging. And when we figured all that out, we realized that not only did you not have to be follow the leader, every single vehicle could, in fact, theoretically run a different ride path through the ride space. They could all be doing something different. They could dance with each other. You could choreograph moves. You could move in any direction. You could dance in circles. It truly was unique. So we conquered the power. We conquered navigation. And the last, and really the most important, was communication. Because, we were no longer connected to the track and to a power source and to a communication source. Wireless technology had to advance to the point where we could send huge, huge amounts of data wirelessly, safely, and securely between the vehicle and the ride control system. So conquering all 3 of these became huge in the development of Revolution. So we started with this beautiful thing that we built as a proof of concept several years ago. We joined with our friends up the road. Many of you know Ron Griffin up in Attraction Services. Ron is a master at doing rapid prototyping. And we enlisted Ron's help in putting together what we've referred to as the Franken Vehicle. Believe it or not, the motions that we were able to incorporate in this lovely craft are identical to the motions that got us to what exists today as Revolution. The same degrees of freedom, the same motion, turntable, a tuned-off motion base, pitch and roll. We can do all of that in this lovely thing the same way we can in today's Revolution vehicle. Every piece of technology, every new ride system, as we all know in this industry, requires the one important element. It requires a spark. It requires somebody to take a chance on you and say, we believe in your product and we'll be the first to try it. So we're going to give a big shout out. Hang on. There we go. To our friends at SeaWorld. And I'll let Dave speak a little bit about this, but SeaWorld were the ones truly that had the vision for a show where they wanted to do a trackless system. They really drove to that solution, and they had the confidence in Oceaneering to say, we believe you guys can pull this off. While we had a bunch of working prototypes and obviously that lovely Franken vehicle, we didn't have anything that was guest ready or production ready. And through their help and through their inspiration and the creative needs for the show, together we developed what you today know as the Antarctica Empire of the Penguin. Those ride vehicles are pretty phenomenal, and the show and the display are great. So, we want to pay special thanks to SeaWorld for taking a chance on us, because that really allowed us to do a lot of things that we needed to do to sort of prove ourselves in the marketplace. I don't know if you want to add any of that, but
I got 6 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
So Bill and I, we made a deal. Bill would cover today, and I got tomorrow. So
okay.
Anyway, but I would want to echo what Bill said. you know, we don't exist without customers, and one of the difficult challenges that you have when you're playing around with technology, and I can tell you my own personal journey of going from engineer to general manager. In the old days, I'd hear new technology and I would be very excited, and today I hear when something's new, I get very nervous. So customers are no different. No customer wants to be first, and no customer can afford to be second. So again, it's the courage and the courage of the business folks at SeaWorld and the vision of Brian Morrow and his team to bring this thing to life, and we're very proud of our final result. So thank you to SeaWorld for that.
Okay. We're going to run over time, and Roberta's going to shoot us with her AK-47. So we're going to finish with a quick video. It's really some of the folks that worked on the attraction, and they're going to talk a little bit about the process they went through. And again, we'll have a little different video tomorrow night, so those of you going to the dinner can appreciate that. If you have any other questions, please join us on oceaneering.com/OES, and you can learn more about Revolution.
Thank you.
The Revolution system takes a linear dark ride system and puts it into a multi-dimensional environment. Where before everything was follow the leader, sequential, now the systems can be whatever the creative group wants them to be.
I think the big benefit of the technology itself is that it allows the owner of the attraction to have somebody come in and redo the attraction in model space. So you can do everything seamlessly. You can come in a week before, change all your paths, change all your motion profiles, and then you can come in the next week when the ride's closed at night, and you can completely change the whole experience around without ever taking the ride down, without the guests ever being disrupted.
When you think about all these rides that we've come to love and enjoy, they all move in the same way on a track. Well, we took the track out of the equation. And in doing that, we freed up the opportunities that the creative group has to really move the vehicles around a space.
Well, where we started was we went into the industry to look at what systems out there currently are trackless. And right now in the industry, there's these AGV technology, automated guidance vehicles, mostly used in the automotive industry to move equipment around. So we started with that, and we saw the types of equipment that are used. And then we moved on to taking that system and how we would apply it to a theme park. It turns out, I mean, since AGVs have to operate around workers in an industrial environment, there is already a high level of safety already attached to that type of technology. So it really wasn't a stretch to put people on these vehicles.
We really had some technologies that enabled what we were trying to develop. But how exactly to get there and how to implement it, we went through a lot of different ideas.
We worked with the motorization, the actuation of the wheels, the steering, the geometry. Bit by bit, as we determined what was needed to support the electrical end of things and the software end of things, we were able to provide that from a mechanical standpoint.
The power density of electronics has certainly increased since our first generation of vehicles were designed, and so kind of moving away from pneumatics, and it's a completely electric-based vehicle, which really allows a lot more control. We can follow profiles with great accuracy.
The product development involves working on the technology to create the functionality that we need for what will be a long-term product for Oceaneering, such as the navigation system, the suspension system, the motion-based systems. They're all unique to Oceaneering. There are aspects of a project, such as primarily the theming, and the theming is specific to the client. What does the vehicle and the cabin of the vehicle need to look like to fit in with a thematic approach? When we realized that each vehicle being in the station was also a decision point, it allowed us to say we can release any one of the vehicles, first, second, third. It adds a lot of complexity to the programming.
we realized right away that we are done with people waiting in line as far as getting on the vehicle. So that allows us to come up with this organic station or multiple pod locations for load and unload.
Organic station is important because when you think about the linear path that a ride vehicle moves along, it's like a train track. And if there's a problem on the track, the entire train has to stop. In a ride experience, that's not a great scenario. With the Revolution system and its organic movements, we've finally been able to provide theme parks and creative storytellers with a way to combat that problem of linear stoppage. It's gone. Things will never be the same.
To be honest, I am amazed at our guys for being able to work that out. It seemed like a very complicated programming issue. Now we're able to release vehicles as they fill instead of having to wait until the last vehicle is filled with patrons.
Loading on these vehicles can occur all over the ride, and it really doesn't impact the motion of the vehicles because we're not in a line as far as going through a ride as traditional systems are.
This really adds a level of magic to the ride for people because they can't quite figure out how it works. You know, what they expect, it's different than their expectation.
We can rearrange scenes, we can rearrange vehicles, we can have vehicles that interact together in a choreographed fashion if need be. The palette is really open to whatever the creative guys can do.
Thank you, gentlemen. Impressive. Thank you. Wow. Now they're going to head out of the room and be interviewed with our podcast team. Wow, that was great.